we started looking at social enterprise, and we restructured our board and some other things, but it was really cool because we got a lot of help from people who were doing it as well. And so it was really a cool thing because so many folks were helping us. Our board, what we did was create a strategic initiatives committee, and our board was made up of business leaders, and they felt really good at that. And so we took a trip up to Cleveland and saw another social enterprise there, and thought, we could probably do this. And within a year, we had our first thrift store open up on Morse Road. We got a lot of help, and honestly, from folks in the community. Actually, the Homeless Foundation was a big supporter to help us get started, and we were able to raise about $400,000 to start our first thrift store.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And what year was that?
That was 2016.
Okay.
And a lot of that year was never letting good prices go to waste.
We've not had any of those learnings in the past couple of years, right?
Right.
Right. So you had success in getting launched and seeing the success that you could have and with the business line, but what about the impact in the community?
Yeah, so what it's done for us is amazing. So, at the time when we were fully supported, practically we were seeing about 4,000 families a year. Afterwards, of course, we did do some ability to serve some families, obviously, use that kind of revenue. But with our thrift stores, within 2 years, we were making enough surplus to serve 1,000 families. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
It was really phenomenal. So the impact it had was it allowed us to serve over 1,000 families, about 15 pieces of furniture delivered to their door. And the other thing that we didn't realize at the time was how many shoppers were low income that were coming to our thrift stores. And so really, we began serving actually more folks because we had the thrift store there where folks could get furniture for a very reduced price, as well as the surplus that we would make to serve other families. And so it was such a win-win for us. And really got us going. So quite honestly, we have 3 social enterprises right now.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah.
No, that's remarkable. And from a nonprofit perspective, right, being a nonprofit leader and having had a lot of different hurdles in the past in funding, having a social enterprise sometimes can be really scary to take that leap. And what gave you and your board that courage to know that that was the path that you needed to take forward?
Well, if you look at our world today, I mean, quite honestly, social problems are getting worse. And the nonprofit community is really the community that tries to solve our community's most challenging problems. And so we have to think, not just back then, but even today, we have to think of, as nonprofits, how do we create greater impact? And the truth is, in this country, most money is made by business. As nonprofits, we're great. I mean, we can ask anybody for anything, and we always do. But the idea of creating our own revenue and our own surplus revenue just sounded really cool to us. And we knew that, not all social enterprises, not all businesses were successful. But, quite honestly, I got to give a shout out to the Clintonville Foundation because we had actually tried a social enterprise before and it did not work. We tried to get into mattress recycling, which was, it did not work. But you know what? We were still supportive because we were trying to do something unique and innovative and trying to support the mission and raise more funds so that we could serve more families.
Right. Now, that's remarkable. And tell me the numbers again. You went from serving how many families?
Well, so we were serving 4,000 families a year when we were getting $1 million in grant. Without that, the lowest we tipped to was 3,200. So even though we lost all that, we were still able to, at the time, keep that level of service up there, which was really quite remarkable in many ways.
Right. No, that's awesome.
And we also tried to primary social enterprise, it wasn't, our second social enterprise, I got to tell you, we did a downsize initiative. We called it Downsize with a Heart. And the idea was, is there a way you could get more furniture and get paid for doing that? And we started looking at the research out there, and there were a lot of seniors that were my age that were thinking about downsizing and moving from their 4-bedroom house into you know, 2-bedroom condo or something like that. I thought, wow, is there a way we could tap into that and actually get paid for picking up that furniture? They're gonna get something anyway. And so we went down that pathway. We didn't get too far, and they were asking us also to move them. So our whole business model was to pick up the furniture, move families into a new place, and then take what they didn't want. And what we found is we're much better at moving furniture that's donated to us than we are moving other people's furniture. And not only that, it's tough to compete in that market with some of the big players in the moving industry. I mean, we just could not compete with Atlas Van Lines and stuff like that. If we could get in and meet with someone and tell our story, it's sold. I'm telling you, a lot of folks that love the idea of a social enterprise and that we could move that, and they didn't mind us making money. They said, well, geez, I'd rather you make that extra surplus than to have it go into a shareholder or the donors' pockets. And so when we could get in, we did really well. But it was such a hard market to penetrate. And so what we did was we got out of the moving part and just do the furniture collection now. And it's worked out really, actually much better for us, quite honestly.
And those learnings, so many times, the learnings give you so much more reflection, and you're able to move forward with strength in a different kind of way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to pivot all the time. I mean, even as nonprofits, we have to pivot. But when you're in this, you learn things and then you pivot to make it better. And so it's just really important to keep that in mind.
Right, and the whole entrepreneurial spirit continually as nonprofit leaders, we're always looking for new ways to make sure that our client is served and our customers are getting the resources that they need.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just so critical. And, I would really, encourage you to just think about how you could do something related to your business that would bring in extra revenue. There are things out there, not every nonprofit can do it, but, the benefits that we have received have just been unbelievable in this venture. And we are so grateful that we got into it, and then we got the support from the community. And so things like iCat, Social Ventures, these are great organizations to really help you think through some of those ideas that you might have, and just throw it out there and explore.
Right.
There are a lot of good things we can do.
Right. I believe that social responsibility and sustainable profit go hand in hand, and nonprofits are going to continue to try to figure out different sources of revenue, and social enterprise is a natural fit.
It is. I mean, why shouldn't we be allowed to make a profit and put that profit back in the mission? I mean, think about it. Why shouldn't we be allowed? We are allowed.
To be empowered to. Yes. So as you're venturing into your new chapter, what are some of the learnings that you'd like to share from a social enterprise perspective from the impact of business side?
Yeah, I think the thing is that we worry so much about risk. And, I always like to say, if there's no guts, there's no point. You got to go for it. And there's people out there to help us do that. Quite honestly, as nonprofits, most of your board members are in the business community. It was unbelievable how much more engaged our board got because we got into social enterprise. They were much more, they felt like it was their lane too, and the value that they provided us with was enormous. And so I would encourage you to tap into your board and those business leaders on your board, as well as consultants. I mean, we had a great consultant. He's here somewhere, Matt Lewis helped us a lot in our retail space. So
You don't have to start big, right?
No. You learn too much along the way. Start small and go with it. But the thing is, as you get into it, you learn other things too. So just as I don't know how much time we have left, but kind of as a final example, our thrift store was going so good that we thought, geez, could we model that and take it to another community somehow and start a furniture bank? And so we know there's a great deal of poverty along the Appalachian corridor, and so we wanted to try to do a furniture bank in Lancaster so that we could reach that. But you know what? In Lancaster, there wasn't any available government money. There wasn't much philanthropy. It's already taken. Their $93 are also very spoken for. So what we did was kind of flip the switch on that. We started the social enterprise first, and we started a thrift store down there, a furniture thrift store in Lancaster, and started making surplus so that we could then begin serving those needs. And it's been working. And what we wanted to try to model is this something that any community in the country could do? And we think it is. We're still pivoting, we're still learning, but for the most part, it's been very successful. And we've been able to serve families down there, as well as make a little bit of a surplus in which to do it. And the thing too that was so cool about that is the community really appreciated the fact that we were coming in there, trying to help them, but we're bringing our own resources to the table. And so it went over really well. And so we're still working on the model a little bit, but it's close. And I think the beauty is that another mid-sized community like Hoover, Springfield, or Dayton, they can really take this model rapidly and start their own furniture bank in their school, and they can go.
So pivoting, learning, continual resilience, and a community service first and foremost. You've taught us, through the years, and everything that you've done has been really inspiring to many of us, including me. So thank you. Thank you. And any closing words that you'd like to share?
No, just really to my nonprofit partners out there, I really encourage you to try to pursue this line. In social enterprise, I believe, is the future of nonprofits. Again, as our social issues continue to grow, there's just no way we're going to be able to do that without businesses to grow. And so, really, I think that nonprofits are the leaders that could really make that happen and make a much bigger impact in our community. So I encourage you, please, to pursue this.
Do good, do well, and social impact.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Steve. Thank
you.
you. I think so, yeah. Our job's not done.
Okay.
You're not tired yet. All right, thank you so much to Vicki and Steve. Can we get another round of applause? Thank you. I love that little, that's loud. I love that little piece of wisdom, never let a crisis go to waste. So I don't know if you knew what was coming down the pike, but all of us should be busy if that's the case. So this evening, we are going to see 5 area nonprofits who are going to pitch their social impact business plans to a group of funders and business development experts. It is this panel that will make the hard decisions about who will receive what amount in seed money. So they have to do the hard work. We just get to sit here and be supportive. Now our judges for this evening are Gretchen Brandt, who is the Community Grants Consultant at American Electric Power. Bo Chilton, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Impact Community Action. Omar El Habmousa, who is the Senior Lending Officer with IFF. Danielle Tong, who is the Community Research and Grants Management Officer at the Columbus Foundation. Ramona Wheeler, Vice President of Support Services with Alvis Incorporated. And you all already met Michael Wilcox, Senior Vice President of Community Impact for the United Way of Central Ohio. Now, earlier, Michael came up and shared a few words about the United Way and their investment in this program. But now I am very excited to share with you a little bit about the United Way's strategic partner in this cohort program, Cause Impact. And as I mentioned to you all, I am a proud alum of this program, so not only are these individuals leaders who are helping to shape and support innovators in our community, but I consider them personal friends and mentors. So I'm so excited to be able to share a little bit about them with you all tonight. Now, Cause Impact has been in the business of strategy, innovation, and social impact since 1988. Their Innovation Catalyst cohort model combines the team experience of a leadership development class with a business innovation process to create stronger, more impactful, more sustainable nonprofits. Since 2019, the United Way of Central Ohio and Cause Impact have maintained a strategic partnership to bring you the Innovation Catalyst cohort. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce Instigating Partner. I like that title, Instigating Partner. I think I'm going to give that title to my 4-year-old. At Cause Impact, my friend Sean Mcgee.
Thank you, Elsie. Thank you for being here tonight. Hi, I'm Sean Mcgee. I think some of you know me. And I'm hoping to get to know all of you if we haven't met yet. I've been working on nonprofit strategy and innovation at Cause Impact for about 17 years now. My partners and I have had the good fortune to work with dozens of talented leaders and their teams in the Innovation Catalyst over the last 12 years. And tonight you're going to be seeing the fruits of those labors from our 2021 cohort of Columbus nonprofits. For the last 9 years, we've worked with about 70 nonprofit organizations in multiple communities here in Middle Ohio, in Middle Tennessee, in Central Indiana, and areas beyond. Almost 80% of those nonprofits have either launched or are currently in the process of launching a social enterprise that will provide greater sustainability to their organization and greater impact to their mission in their communities. I'm really proud of that statistic. Even though I get to do the easy work. I just ask a lot of questions. The teams do all the hard stuff. Can I get an amen to that? Yeah. The Innovation Catalyst program is an intensive 10-month process that integrates group training and consultation with leadership coaching and peer coaching. And during this process, those participating organizations learn the ins and outs of business development, from research and ideation to developing a formal business plan and developing an effective pitch, which you'll be seeing tonight. In addition, we view Innovation Catalyst as a platform for culture change. We provide these great people with tools and strategic experience and challenges and opportunities to really help them make a critical shift from a traditional operational mindset to a more entrepreneurial mindset, which better prepares them and their organizations to address the evolving challenges and needs in our communities in these most demanding of times. The landscape's changing every darn day these days, and if we're not willing to think differently and to try different things, we're going to find ourselves lost in the forest. So this year's teams were selected through a competitive application process, and we worked them really hard. Every one of them has buckled down and really risen to the challenge, and I'm really, really excited to have them share their ideas with you. proud to be a part of this. I'm proud to work with these great organizations. And you know, I've written more script here, but the only really important additional thing I want to say is a shout out to my partners at Cause Impact, Tom Bishop and Matt Lewis. Without whom none of this would happen. And to our hosts of Franklin University, and to all the wonderful funders and volunteers that help make this happen. And so, thanks for listening to this bored, old, middle-aged white guy. I'm going to hand the mic back to my brilliant friend, Elsie.
Thank you all for being patient as we got a chance to talk to our funders and introduce our judges. But now it's time for the fun part, what everybody actually came to see. So at this time, I'd love to introduce to the stage our first pitch from ARC Industries.
CFO for ARC Industries.
And my name is Josh Cook, Program Developer for ARC Industries. We are so grateful and thankful to be here today to talk to you about our new social enterprise, Accountable Staffing. At ARC, we serve over 1,000 Central Ohioans as they live, work, and play in their community. We believe in people. People are the reason we're here, and it's why we're here today. We believe in work, the power of work, the value of work. It's so much more than a paycheck. It's a sense of accomplishment. It's part of our identity. What we're talking about here today is the very fabric of who we are as a company. Our values, our purpose, our everything. This social enterprise will not only help fund ARC's mission, it'll also help solve some real problems that our world is facing. So to that end, Anthony's going to talk about the problems. Anthony?
All right, thanks, Josh. Our social enterprise is being developed to address two problems in the world today. The first is the ever-worsening labor crisis. The number of vacant jobs in the U.S. just keeps growing. It's an all-time high. We actually had to rescale this chart 3 times during this project, which speaks to how much it's rising. Now, some folks will say, hey, this is going to sort itself out, things are going to go back to how it was, but we're seeing that's just not the case. Employers have to think about labor differently. It's new financial terms. It's new other terms like schedules, locations of the work, or even the work itself. Employers are going to have to recruit differently, and they're going to have to recruit different people. Now, all the while, the hard-to-employ people in our community remain on the sidelines of the employment marketplace. When I say hard-to-employ people, I'm talking about people with disabilities. I'm talking about people who've been involved with the justice system, welfare recipients, and many others. Now, one example of that group is people with disabilities. You can see the chart behind me. The numbers, and this is the chart of people with disabilities versus non-unemployment in that group. The numbers move, but what stays the same is the gap. And the gap represents those people who want to be part of the workforce and don't get that shot. Now, we know from experience, and particularly one program that we operate, that places people with disabilities into internships and community employment sites. The whole idea is that they learn employment skills and hopefully get jobs. Put hundreds of people through that program after the last few years. Of those people, 95% who've started have gotten jobs in that program. Fast forward a year later, 85% are still employed. That's a powerful statistic, and we think it means that these people can do the job, they can really participate in the workforce. We think it's a problem that they're not getting a chance to do it. And we think this opportunity in the labor world presents a heck of an opportunity. So, that's our problem. We've got a solution. I'm going to turn it over to Josh to talk about that. Josh?
Thanks, Anthony. Our solution is Accountable Staffing. Accountable Staffing is a staffing firm that will work with employers to fill positions. We want to use ARC's business relationships to help bring hard-to-employ people into the frame for opportunity. To start, we will focus on the office and administrative field, the largest in Central Ohio, offering both temporary and permanent positions. Now, we've done a lot of research, and this is certainly a crowded field. So what will we do to set ourselves apart? Well, we'll bring everything that a typical staffing firm brings, but we bring more. We bring hard-to-employ people. Data says that people who have been justice involved stay in jobs 45% longer than those who have not. And people with disabilities have significantly better attendance rates than those without. We believe this represents a huge value to our future employers and will help set us apart in the marketplace. Now, we also know that all people need support in the workplace, so to that end, our Accountable will offer a concierge service that will include things like childcare, transportation, and financial management, among other things. As a result, we will fill positions faster, our people will come to work and they'll do great work, and they will stay in positions longer. We view the need to acquire staffing professionals for lead generation, account management, and sourcing as the most critical aspects of this startup. We've evaluated both starting this business organically or through an acquisition. We have people on staff who have handled over 20 M&A deals in their career, so we believe we bring a significant expertise to this field. We've not identified a specific target yet, but we have been able to evaluate businesses in the space to help develop our pro forma and our valuation assessment. With costs being about the same, the risk dynamics have led us to want to enter the market through an acquisition. We've talked problems, we've talked solutions, so now Anthony's going to talk financials. Anthony?
All right. Well, thanks, Josh. Our research and experience tells us that we can expect our acquisition to cost us somewhere between 2.7 and 3.5 times EBITDA. And for those of you playing along at home, that's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So our startup cost will be approximately $1.2 million. That includes the acquisition. It includes our startup working capital and some initial minor equipment purchases that we'll have to make. We'll plan to purchase our office space from Mark, but we have those costs in our pro forma. We also plan to make some investments to ensure that we retain the talent that we acquire through the acquisition, because that's a must. We have to have that to be successful. So, with all that said, we will be cash flow positive by the middle of the second year. By the end of the third year, our net margins will be just shy of 8%. We'll be making a meaningful contribution to ARC's mission, and we'll be solving some problems in the world. So, we do have a great deal of the startup capital for this already identified. We think it's important to engage community stakeholders like our innovation capitalist sponsors and anyone else who wants to be a part of this, to be part of what we think could be a really transformational opportunity for the hard-to-employ in our community in what we think could be a revolution in the employment marketplace. So with that said, we are seeking an additional $300,000 to get our startup off the ground. All right, well, we certainly want to say our thank yous. We thank Cause Impact, thank our innovation catalyst sponsors, thank our ARC team, certainly you all for listening to this, and Josh for doing a great job just now. So, this has been an incredible experience. We couldn't be more grateful and humbled to have been here. So, thank you.
Okay, and now we've got a little bit of Q&A. We're going to unmute the mic and ask you the first question.
So, my question is kind of twofold. Your information indicated that you intend to provide both temporary and long-term employment opportunities. First question, where do you expect to get your participants? How do you generate those individuals to be part of accountable staffing? And as Steve somewhere said, looking kind of at crisis scenarios that many of us in social enterprise have experienced, what happens if more people actually want to hire your folks long-term as opposed to temporary? How do you think you're going to keep that flow?
Yes, great question. So we'll be competing there fighting in the trenches just like the other staffing firms, but we'll also be using resources that come through ARC and other providers to be able to identify those people. So we will have the traditional sourcing, and we'll have to be out there fighting, and just like everybody else, to compete. But we bring that more. We bring those other folks. And then to your second question, it's a great question. The business model is lined up so that you have temporary staff, and you can place them. We have a model. We'll place temporary, and we'll place permanent, and we have a model, and it's part of the service level agreement that if somebody wants to hire someone, which is great, there's a financial component to that, so that we bring in the revenue. Because at the end of the day, like Steve said, we do have to make money, and we will. That's a good question. Thank you.
Thank you for a great presentation. My question to you is, during the early part of your presentation, you mentioned the internship as a part of your nonprofit, and I would like to know, you mentioned that in that internship, folks tend to be hired because they have a bit of a runway into employment. And so my question for you is around that runway for folks who are employed. How do you get somebody who may not have administrative skills up to speed in an administrative position?
Well, that's right. That's another great question. So we'll have some people that come to us that are ready, and we'll have some that come to us that are not. And so we have our industries, because, oh, by the way, that's what our industries does, is we get people ready to work. And so if somebody comes to us and isn't quite ready, because we'll be doing assessments, and I mean, we've got to compete. We've got to send out people to the employers who can get the job done. So we'll be doing testing just like any other staffing firm's going to do to make sure that happens. But if someone's not ready, we've got ARC as a service delivery agent to be able to provide those services. To let's get them ready so that they can be successful when they get out there.
Excuse me. One thing I'd like to say is I think you take the right decision on acquisition versus developing on your own. You have a ready-made book of business. You have, experienced people in the field. You don't have to train them up. If you were able to save some money on talent retention, is that an opportunity to address some soft skills that staff may not have, that your nonprofit might already have? Train them, or have you addressed that in other ways?
Well, and so, is it an opportunity? There's always an opportunity to save some money. And so, I think Steve said it. He said it right. You pivot every second. So we'll walk out of here tonight and we're going to have to change things. And so we absolutely will. It's just we wanted to make sure that we've got money in there that allows us to do the things that we need to do. And so if we can reuse those dollars a different way to, like you said, to get folks ready, or even to address another concern, we absolutely will. We won't just do it if we don't need to. But I think we just have to be ready.
Good evening. Thank you for the courage to take this venture on. I think it's very important. You mentioned by year 3 earning about an 8% profit. And I applaud the mission to help the hard to employ find gainful employment. But they are hard to employ for a reason and come with multiple employment barriers such as transportation, childcare, things of those nature. And oftentimes without support, those things can derail and they're not able to retain jobs. How will you address that in terms of the support service? And is the cost of that, which can be quite costly, is that built into your program?
Yeah, that's a super question. We do have dollars included in the performance to address those, because I know Josh mentioned some of those, and there are others, because there are so many things that can derail somebody in the employment world. Now, we do have an advantage. ARC has a significant network, so we have a transportation network, so we can do a lot there. But we've already started reaching out to develop partnerships, even more around transportation, because transportation's hard. Childcare is really hard. I mean, it's really hard. So we've got more work to do there. But I think we've got dollars identified, and we've started the process of identifying how we'll do that. So, but without that, right? I mean, and it's not just the hard to employ. I mean, it's hard to be employed these days, just with all the needs and so on. It is. I prove that every day. Yeah, so great question. So thank you.
So you've talked about helping those who are difficult to hire and to serve, and thank you for that. My question is around the accommodations that they might need. Are you going to provide some advocacy training for your staff that may be necessary to make sure that your candidates are successful in their placements? And then are you going to plan to have continued services, even possibly establish a relationship even after they might get permanently placed?
Oh, right, absolutely. So absolutely we will. I mean, that's really important. And again, it's an advantage that we have. We can buy those services for ARC ARC is what we do. I mean, and so we're pretty good at it. So those services will be there, and the long-term commitment has to be there. I mean, it just has to be. I mean, you know, and it will be. And so we've got those items included. I mean, I think, you know, we've done so much work, and all these groups have done so much work on these projects, and you get to see 7 minutes of it, but there's so much into it. We probably could have squeezed a larger profit, but we intentionally didn't, because we want to do this right and really make that impact and make it sustainable so we can do this for a long time. So that's an important component, so thank you.
Could you share a little additional information about how you would determine the fee that an employer would pay, and how does that look similar or different than, say, a for-profit staffing agency?
Yeah, well, and we've modeled, so we had the opportunity, as Josh mentioned, to get under the hood of a number of staffing firms and just to see, so we know how that's done. And so we plan to price ourselves. We're not going to be a value, a cheap, provider, but we're going to be competitive in the marketplace. And so generally speaking, these fees are a percentage. On the temp side, it's a percent of wages, and on the permanent placement side, it's more a percentage of what the annual fee is. And so we'll be competitive. We won't be bargain basement, but we plan to be a premium, value-added service that is worth paying that amount for.
And lastly, are there specific job categories that you are focused on that you think are the right type of jobs for your clients?
Yeah. So we're going to start in the office and administrative field. And that's the largest field of employment in the Columbus marketplace, and it is of most areas. So we'll just start there and do that really well. Now, you know, when we're out generating leads and we start talking to other industries, we're not going to say no. We'll certainly take a look, but the intent is to start there and do that really well.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, that's all the time we have for Q&A. With this.
Isn't it always wonderful to go first? Right? Now you have it over, but you were brave and went first. I have the honor of introducing the next team, which is 3 levels of greatness.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Is this on? Okay, sorry. Good evening. I am Ricky Weber, the visionary and founder of 3 Levels of Greatness, where this idea came to me in a dream in 2017. We have since become a 501c3 organization in May of 2018. We are looking to offer services for victims of human trafficking, where we are going to offer safe housing, training, as well as independent living. We are doing this as we empower labor and sex trafficking victims to become thrivers, to dream again. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business worldwide. In the United States, In 2020, 103 victims were rescued by Ohio Task Force. By year end, 216 survivors needed assistance from agencies fighting human trafficking. If those numbers aren't astonishing enough, I just want to bring it a little closer to where we are. In and around Columbus and the surrounding areas, there have been multiple sting operations that took place. In 2020, there was 109 victims that were rescued. This year, 104. Some of the solicitors included a city council member, a teacher, pilot, and a firefighter, which easily can be any of our neighbors. Some of the victims we may have encountered in nail salons, day spas, restaurants, or even someone's nanny. Recently, a survivor mentioned to me that one of the risk factors of being rescued is that they are offered either jail time or to be placed in an overcrowded homeless shelter, unless there was an agency like ours. We are looking to offer short-term and long-term housing, starting with women ages 18 and over, offering therapy and counseling sessions, as well as training life skills for them so that they can complete their GED or even get a college degree. We are looking to start in Pataskala because we truly believe that we have to remove these women from the areas where the activities are taking place. In order to change someone's habit, we have to change their mindsets. And this actually costs money. So our startup cost is $68,491. This would actually help to cover the housing and utilities for the first year, as well as the expenses, payroll, and miscellaneous income. This will help us to secure an apartment for the first year, as well as to be able to serve one survivor and staff it with a paid staff member. We could also continue to hire staff, as well as acquire our own real estate at some point. We have not been sitting idly by. Since 2019, we have been able to generate a revenue over $27,000 by word of mouth. This is through fundraisers, Amazon Smile, our board of directors give on a monthly basis, as well as private donors. Employee giving campaigns where employers actually match their donations, as well as GoFundMe, and we've had corporate sponsors, and also our own private investments. This is to better position ourselves for future grants, so that by year 2 or 3, we will be able to create a social enterprise that will generate an external, recurring, sustainable income. We have been active in the community. We have gone out with organizations such as Reaching for the Shining Stars. They go out every week to the hilltop areas, handing out toiletries to women who are not able to come out of this lifestyle. We've also established relationships in the courthouses with judges so that they know who we are and what we are looking to serve. We've also been out with Habitat for Humanity, where we help other people with their houses while we are continuing to work on our own. We've held 2 galas. The first, we had a survivor who actually participated, and she shared her story. The second we held virtually this year, where Senator Feder, who is in Toledo, nominated a survivor who ended up being our first recipient of our Level Up Award. We have been building on our foundation. With our team, we've established staff who currently volunteer. They go out into the community to listen to the stories better meet those needs. We hear it directly from the survivors. And unfortunately, the woman to her left, she was one of our staff members who unexpectedly passed away 2 weeks ago, but we are determined to dedicate our first house in her name. We've also utilized partners like Freedom a la carte, who offer human trafficking training. So we go out and we train our staff. We have contractors that come in to train our staff, where they train them in life skills and cybersecurity. We also have a dynamic dual team in Florida that consists of our CFO, Alyssa Clement, who is my amazing daughter, and as well as our executive director, Lyndon Savanto, who is her fabulous fiance. Today, we have been able to partner with agencies outside of Ohio. We partnered with agencies in places like Texas, Maryland, California, and New York. We've also trained truckers against trafficking so that they become better aware of what human trafficking looks like at these traffic stops. We've also been interviewed on numerous podcasts, and we've been at speaking engagements. And most recently, I have been selected to sit at the Ohio Attorney General's Human Trafficking Healthcare Subcommittee. If you would like more information or need to know or want to know how to join this fight, you can contact us at this phone number or email. I do understand and recognize that we may not see the eradication of human trafficking in our lifetime, but I firmly believe that together we can make a stronger impact, one life at a time. Thank you.
Hello. First of all, I commend you on your mission and your vision. It's something that every single person needs to try to figure out how they can be a part of stopping human trafficking. My question is, once you identify someone to be in your program, what is their commitment in order to ensure that they don't get comfortable with the support that they might receive and not necessarily be prepared to take that next step? So if they come into your program, what is your expectation for those individuals?
Thank you for that question. And I believe the answer would take forever. And I would be so happy to get more information for you. But just in a nutshell, we do have policies and procedures that are set up so that the women are actually going to be referred to us. We are not going out to the streets to try to clean up the streets. There are people out there doing that job already. So these women will be referred to us. And so they would actually go through an assessment period to find out if it's a good match. So once that is determined, then they will be able to meet with a therapist and a counselor to determine how long they would need to stay in our organization. So it depends on where they are, with the experience and as far as their mentality too.
Thank you for your vision and your passion and your commitment to this work. It's incredibly important.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So my question is around the staff member that we'll have in the home. And it sounds a bit like leaning towards a supportive housing model. So I'm wondering what types of support that person will be providing to the survivor that you have there.
So the live-in staff member, so that live-in staff member simply would be utilized as a manager, if you will, or like an RA, right? They're just there to make sure that that person is not there by themselves. And so we actually have life coaches and other staff that will come in to work with the survivor. The live-in staff member is pretty much just somebody to make sure that there's 24-hour help there in case something happens. You're welcome, thank you.
Again, great presentation. It sounds like the audience really, it resonated with the audience as well. I guess my question is throughout the myriad of trainings that you have gone through and your staff has gone through, was there something that seemed like profound or surprising that you weren't expecting?
So good question. And my hesitation is because this has become so real to me. And, sorry, I'm a crybaby. Sorry. I grab commercials and all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. But yes, so what's surprising to me is that the more that this gets attention, that there aren't other agencies like this already that offer a solution. The problem is, it's wonderful that they are being rescued, but they're just going right back out into that lifestyle because there's not a solution for them. And so they wanted, no one ever woke up and one day and said, I want to be human trafficked, right? The way that they get into this, men and women, you know, it's not just women. So that's what was really surprising to me is that, you know, it's been going on. I think the first mention of it, even in Ohio, was 2007. You know, and so to be able to be one of those people that can actually offer a solution, even just starting it one life at a time, that's why I get up every day. And I'm just so grateful that being a single mom, transplanted to Ohio, hindsight, knowing that, you know, that could have been our story. But I'm just so grateful that it wasn't, and so that's why I'm here fighting for somebody to make it not their story anymore.
Thank you again. Real people with real problems need real solutions. Thank you for the courage to take this on. My question is, how do we expand beyond that first one? Have you thought about how to go about scaling up certain work?
Oh yeah. So I'm the visionary of the team, and I promise you they tell me all the time, start small. You know, your vision is too big. And we're looking at, you know, like acquiring apartment buildings so that we don't have to, you know, put the money towards the landlord versus, you know, being able to just buy property, you know, and develop it into like a village, if you will, so that, you know, people could actually live together and become independent livers, you know, house owners. So I'm already there, and my team keeps having to pull me back. So, you know, we have so many volunteers lined up. We have people, I mean, there are schools, universities, that the students just want to help. So we have it, we just need the funding to get it going. But thank you.
Thanks, Ricky, for sharing your passion with us. My question for you, it's kind of a two-parter. So one, like Bo was saying, in terms of scalability, are you planning to, you know, certain events in town, like the Arnold, lead to a lot of human trafficking? So one, are you planning on things that you would be able to have a rapid response, maybe for the limited time that's in town, and be able to serve those, ramp up and then kind of ramp down? Because as you state, you know, it is really difficult to hunt out, if you will, the instances of trafficking. You have to be pretty aware and in tune to that. And then secondly, as you talked about scaling, you know, I know you've said you and your staff have been through a lot of trainings. Are you thinking about the trauma-informed care that you've received as you're looking at, you know, apartments
these will be people that will be referred to us. So it depends on who, like Homeland Security or Columbus City Police, who pick them up, and then they would actually contact us to let us know that, because when they pick these women up, some of them aren't even ready to come out of that lifestyle, so they're not even looking for some place to go, but that's because there wasn't a place to go, right? It's either jail or you go to a homeless shelter, you know, and so their pimp is just bailing them out and they're right back into that cycle. So as far as we will grow, we need as many bedrooms per person to be able to make a difference. And then your second question.
The second question was kind of looking at those properties.
Yes.
And as you are looking to acquire the first apartment, you know, I know Freedom a la carte was very intentional in their design of their new facility, and knowing that you've received some trauma-informed care and also, you know, been partnering with them. How are you taking what you've learned about that and using that lens to look at the properties that you're doing?
Oh, with those properties. Yes, so we do have, like, our board members, people, they're looking as far as, like, background checks and things like that. You mean as far as, like, with the owners of these properties?
A little bit of that, but also in terms of, like, design of the space.
Okay.
So that it's a calming, I know you're
Yes.
taking them out of the city.
Yes.
So I just didn't know.
I understand. So, like, if it's something there that is familiar to them, then it's those trigger points, absolutely. So, those are the things. We have, like, a designer team as well that will come in and make it feel like home, so it doesn't feel like it's just another stop. You know, we don't want these hard stops for them to come in and then it's all these triggers happening again. So we do have a design team that will come in and just make it feel like grandma's house.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ricky. Let's have another round of applause.
Such a wonderful presentation, and now I am extremely excited to bring up our next presenters, which are here to present about the Clintonville Beechwood CRC.
Sorry, tonight. Good evening. My name is Bill Owens, and I am the Executive Director of the Clintonville Beechwood Community Resources Center, or CRC. And we believe it is our time to start a social enterprise, hosting and managing events that will primarily be held in a new facility that will house our existing and future CRC programs, the CRC Program and Events Center. Through this project, we are looking to further our mission of service, partnership, and opportunity. Services will have an increased capacity to build on people's strengths and assure access to basic needs like food, housing, and health care. Partnerships will expand and deepen with for-profit and nonprofit organizations through the CRC Program and Events Center that provides a venue for conferences, fundraising events, and community building events. Opportunities will emerge for those pursuing a career in performing arts or hospitality, whether as a performer or as an event support person, as well as opportunities for neighbors to increase their connectedness to each other through the arts and a shared space. For 50 years, we've been helping individuals and families of all ages faced with inadequate food and income to avoid household disintegration, to avoid isolation and illness, and to secure for themselves a life free from fear, to be at peace. Our new facility will not only accommodate our programs in one location, but it will hold community meetings, celebrations like wedding receptions, and ticketed performances. Performance space for national, local, and emerging artists provides us with the inspiration of live performances and an opportunity to join with our neighbors in a positive atmosphere. To paraphrase Tracy Chapman, a place to feel like you belong and to feel like you can be someone. We aspire to break even our first year, and by our third year, to have excess revenue of $45,000, which translates into a full-time direct service staff member, or pay for 2 years of food for our food pantry purchases from the Mid-Ohio Food Collective. At CRC, we have experienced steady growth. When I came to CRC 26 years ago, we had 7 employees and a $200,000 budget. Today, we have 48 employees and a 2022 budget of $4,788,000. Our new facility will have a flexible space for program use during the day and space for performances with retractable theater seating for up to 300 attendees. State-of-the-art audio-visual capacity to host all kinds of in-person and remote access events. A kitchen to make meals and to host caterers for events we manage for others for a fee. And our events management staff will have a much sought-after venue to host fundraising events for our agency, as well as our social service colleagues, who together with us make up the social safety net of Franklin County. There are other facilities and venues in Columbus, but the sweet spot of 250 to 300 seats is difficult to find. Many facilities are too large and expensive for most. At CRC, we've been successful at holding events that provide an opportunity for community gathering and raising revenue. Our third Thursday events throughout the summer months utilize a parking lot to host upwards of 200 people for live music, food vendors, craft beer, activities for all ages, and community. After 7 successful years of holding these events for CRC outdoors, we're going to the next level, to have an indoor venue, and to share and sell our expertise to others with a much greater capacity. It's time. After starting in 1971 with a small house on North High Street, where the food pantry storage included the use of a bathtub, we acquired the Clintonville Library building in 1981 for $1. We outgrew that space and rented space to house our senior services until we bought an additional building in 2013 that we are paying off the mortgage for this month. Yeah, thank you. But again, we need more space. Our new facility will have much more and enhanced space to deliver services and host community building events for all. $10,988,820. We believe it is time to invest in the people of our community having a flexible space that not only provides a safe and more adequate space for the delivery of vital services, but a space that better serves all of the community. A space that will promote people initiating and maintaining positive relationships, whether it be through a community meal or a musical concert. Our social enterprise startup costs for our program and events center total $1 million, but our ask today is $50,000 to complete a strategic planning process and capital campaign feasibility study. This investment will enable us to build the capacity to better convene the hearts of our people, to build the communities and relationships that save us all. Thank you. I'm a podium guy, so I can answer your questions right here.
We'll start over here. Bill, I know that there isn't anybody that knows Clintonville better than you.
Yeah.
And you haven't done your feasibility study, but what, based on your experience, do you think will drive use of the event space? And is there a facility in Columbus that you think is comparable to what your vision is for this location?
You know, I don't know of anything that has social services that then move out to then have the event space. You know, what I would aspire to was the recent space created by the White Castle people, the Fives. It's beautiful. If we could have something similar to that, it wouldn't have the view of the downtown. But our facility will have a view of the Olentangy River Valley. So having 4 floors, it will have a space that you'll be able to look out to the west to have the beautiful sunsets and the river area. But yeah, that's the facility that comes to mind in terms of something that's attractive, something that's functional, and can be a good place for people to get their services, but also a nice place to have a great event.
So, Phil, you are known for pitching in and taking on things when things are needed to be picked up and carried on, which means just you guys do a lot, and you do a lot with relatively few people. So I'm wondering, in terms of staffing capability, the fact that you're, you guys are already juggling a lot, and I know some of this is going to add a little bit more, not probably, but will add more to those plates. And then you're not talking about possibly adding a person until year 3. Do you have any concerns around that in terms of, let's say the facility becomes wildly popular? Do you have kind of a backup plan for maybe speeding up that additional staff?
Well, to start with, I'm very fortunate to have a development team of 3 people that are incredible. 2 of them are here this evening, Katie Palmer and Nicole Brumman. And if we see that we need more staff, we're just going to have to put the money down. One thing that we have at CRC is an incredible volunteer resource. We have 300 to 600 volunteers a year. The pandemic much less, of course, but an enormous capacity to round up the volunteers and the person power we need to get things done. So I'm pretty confident that should we get a great response, which I think we will, being right on High Street, having that 300-person capacity, it creates a good, intimate environment for a nice musical event, and I just think it'll be really popular, and I think that it's something that, given all the services that we do, and how much contact we have with so many different kinds of people, I think the word will get out, and it's something that will be utilized. And if we were so lucky as to be successful, then we'll just ramp things up.
Bill, thank you again for your presentation. I'm curious, you mentioned almost an $11 million campaign, capital campaign.
Yeah.
And about $91,000 to kick it off and to be basically break even on year 1. Can you unpack those numbers a little bit more on how that pro forma works on your social enterprise compared to the overall campaign to raise the dollars to build the building?
Well, yeah, so it's $1 million to start the social enterprise, with the $50,000 going towards what would really be for the social enterprise strategic planning and the capital campaign feasibility study. So they're both kind of linked there. In the last part of your question, Bo, was about, I'm sorry.
It was really just trying to understand the break even in year 1.
Yeah.
So the investment was, I thought it was $91,000 and break even at year 1. So I was trying to understand the cost and then how you're going to generate the revenue to have that offset.
So the costs are mostly going to be around the staff, of course, the that are able to run these events for us, because the direct service staff aren't going to be able to do that. You know, honestly, it's a guess. It's a guess as to what we're able to do. And I think as we wade into it further, we're going to be better able to know exactly what we're able to raise. So it's a guess.
So I've been in finance and lending for more than 10 years now, and I've seen the most professional sounding accountants and lawyers, and they're also guessing. So
social workers can guess too.
Exactly. You know, one, fast car.
You know the song.
So kudos on that reference. Two, I guess I have a question of the relationship between the for-profit and the nonprofit.
Yeah.
And let's say you have a very profitable band coming, they're already booked, but there's a community event that really needs that space.
Yeah.
Maybe they can pay, but they can't. They're not going to be as.
They're not going to be as profitable.
Well,
like
profitable.
the story has it. Joe Walsh is from Clintonville, and the story is he got his first guitar at a Sears Roebuck when he was 10 years old, which probably was the Northland Mall Sears Roebuck. So say it was Joe Walsh, if he's listening out there. And yeah, how would we decide? Okay, are we going to hold this event for impact, or are we going to have Joe Walsh? And well, service comes first. We would have to have the event that reinforces the social safety net here in Franklin County. That would be a toughie. Yeah. Joe Walsh has rescheduled before. Yeah. Thank you.
So I really value the services that CRC provides. Really a cornerstone to not only Clintonville, but the surrounding region. It's important work.
Thank you.
And so my question is about how you navigate the sometimes social enterprises usurping the mission work. You know, you have very specific mission work, and the social enterprise side of this is would be sort of additive. And so how do you protect that mission work and make sure that it's not usurped by the social enterprise?
Yeah, because that's why we're here, is to do that work. And the social enterprise is just to support that work. So I think part of that is utilizing the volunteers that we have in our community as much as possible. But also, you know, designing it as a limited liability corporation separate from the CRC. I mean, this is really creating another organization that is connected to CRC. But yeah, there would be the mission creep of Bill spending too much time on working on the social enterprise and letting things slide at CRC. I have a really incredible staff. I have a lot of confidence in their ability to pick things up. We always do. But it's a risk. It's a risk, and it's something that we have to be aware of, and be cautious that we aren't overextending ourselves to the detriment of the mission.
Okay, great. Well, let's all hear it for Joe Walsh.
you, Bill. As a Clintonville resident, that was a really great presentation, and super grateful for the work that you do every day, and know that there would be another wonderful resource for us. So thank you very much. And go Joe Walsh. Life's been good to me so far, right? It's now exciting to introduce Adaptive Sports Connection to make their pitch.
Hi everyone. Are you ready to go on an adventure? So Get Out Adventures is good for you and it's good for all. And it offers inclusive outdoor experiences. Get Out Adventures is a social enterprise launched to help sustain the work of Adaptive Sports Connection, a 28-year-old nonprofit organization that has been utilizing the power of sports to push what's possible for people with disabilities. We are fueling conversation, we're confronting ignorance, and we're inciting action that leads to a world where everybody's included. My name is Sharon Schreiber, and I have the privilege to serve and lead both of these ventures. Meet Allie. So Allie loves the outdoors. She's very social, but she has a congenital defect impacting both of her arms and her hands. But she worked really hard with Adaptive Sports Connection, hands-on programming, and she has become quite the paddler. And Allie wants to be able to go kayaking with all of her friends, but there is no kayak livery that has the adaptive equipment or the support that she needs so that they all can do this together. It's time to change the narrative. Get Out Adventures is our outdoor experiences. So coupled with our adaptive instructors and adaptive equipment, we are working with people of all abilities. And Get Out Adventures is one of a kind in a marketplace, offering outdoor educational experiences for all. So in 2020, we offered 24 sessions, kayaking sessions with 800 customers during the pandemic. In 2021, we offered 161 sessions, including special events such as a twilight paddle, a moonlight paddle, and in October, we launched our Haunted Woods of Shawnee Hills, and in 3 weekends, we had over 800 people. In 2022, we plan on expanding our products and services to include paddleboarding and off-site kayaking. So think about the food truck concept using kayaks. We'll also have paddleboarding, and we're going to launch a Get Out Adventures membership model where we'll foster community. We have outdoor retail partners that will have discounts, and we will have hiking and cycling excursions. So we have lots of traction. So like I said, in 2020, we had 745 customers with only 24 sessions and very little marketing. In 2021, we had 2,311 customers and almost $76,000 in revenue. So over the past 2 years, we have had 3,056 customers come through and experience inclusive outdoor experiences and adventures. So the outdoor industry is booming. So 53% of people are participating in some kind of outdoor experience. In Ohio alone, we're looking at a $24.3 billion market. Compared to our competitor, our unique selling proposition is crystal clear. Outdoor enthusiasts, families, and corporate leaders will choose Get Out Adventures because they know that their fun, safe, and inclusive adventure impacts the lives of veterans, children, and adults with disabilities in Ohio. Everyone of all abilities will experience an exceptional outdoor adventure filled with fun, freedom, and acceptance for all. Our revenue projections are strong. We're adding more adventures, more sessions, more corporate outings, sponsorships, and our membership model. These numbers are based on our 2-year pilot programs. And by 2024, you can see we're projecting revenue of $790,000. So Get Out Adventures, our net revenue, then will be used to support our growing adaptive programming. In the past 3 years, we've grown by 66%. And we snow ski, cycle, sail, kayak, mountain bike. And we work with people in 44 counties in Ohio and 12 school systems, 37 other nonprofit community organizations, and veteran organizations, and 5 hospitals. Our tagline is, if I can do this, I can do anything, and it pretty much sums it all. We build self-esteem, independence, and freedom. We get people out doing again, and by that doing, we get them on the path to recovery. And we're really excited about this as well. So it's our Get Out Adventures community initiative, where we want to partner with some other nonprofit organizations. We're going to start with these 4 and offer kayaking adventures for 50 youth and youth that otherwise would not probably be able to experience a great outdoor adventure. We have a great team of entrepreneurs and technology people, marketing, branding, innovation, and I think we're really set to take this to the next level. So we are asking for $229,000, which we want to put a full-time executive staff member. We're looking at 20 paddle boards, some kayaks to take off-site, a truck, and some trailers for the whole ready-to-go kayak program. We're going to build a robust website that will become the hub of outdoor adventures, and marketing and advertising. Your impact will touch the lives of over 5,000 people, and in turn provide funding for more adaptive equipment, training, and scholarships for adaptive athletes who are shredding limitations and saying, if I can do this, I can do anything. Get Out Adventures is good for you, and it's good for all. Thank you very much.
This is really exciting to see opportunities for not just youth, but people of any age to be able to do things that they probably never imagined they'd have an opportunity to, or the ability to. My question is, how does your membership model reach those in underserved communities?
So the membership model of the social enterprise then will actually allow us, the more memberships we get, will allow us to do this work with the other nonprofit organizations, so it'll kind of be a give back. So the membership, so for $159, somebody gets a membership to our organization, and for the social enterprise, we'll get retail discounts, more excursions, things like that. And so that will help. That's really a key to the growth in this. And then we would have the funding to be able to continue to do more of these Get Out Adventure initiatives.
Can you explain a little bit sort of the sphere of the nonprofit versus the sphere of the social enterprise, and where those two overlap and where they don't?
Yes. I'm going to introduce Patty. She's our Director of Operations. She's going to help with some of this Q&A, but there is some overlap because our adaptive program is very intense, hands-on, and our goal is to get people, feeling the freedom and the independence so that they have the training and things that they can do. So some of them will be in our adaptive program, but at some point, they're ready to, okay, like the example I used, they're a great paddler, they want to go and do things with their friends and get into the Get Out Adventures. So there's a little bit of an overlap, but I'm going to ask Maddie to tell a little bit of her story in a short version.
Yes, thank you for that. So they do overlap, and what we try to promote in Adaptive Sports Connection, our adaptive program, is independence. And I can good example of that. This group taught me to ski when I was a kid. You can see I wear prosthetic, so I was going to try to figure it out, but they caught me on the hill before I made a big dumb mistake and duct taped the ski to this prosthetic. They taught me how to ski. By the end of the day, I was much better than all of my able-bodied friends, but I was also given the tools that day to come back with my friends and ski independently with my friends and family. And so this Get Out Adventures is going to promote that sense of independence and community with our adaptive athletes and their friends.
Great presentation. I guess my question is, it's an aggressive growth projection. What is the thing that is giving you the most concern that you're focused on getting just right so that you can make sure that you are able to handle the growth?
I think really is our, our membership model is to get that nailed down. We did do a lot of customer surveys. So I think, and the main driver is people want to get this membership because they know it's going to support the nonprofit side, and they're, doing well. So, but I feel I'm not really too concerned about getting to those numbers. Our goal is sell 250 in 2022, then 500, then 1,000. Just based on the numbers that we already have, we already have a great customer pool to get to. So, but that we consider that one of the keys. So that would be like one of our main focuses to cultivate those memberships.
Good evening. I love the concept. It seems organic and natural for your organization. The revenue projections, even starting out with no marketing, were pretty good, and then just with a little bit of marketing, I saw the jump in revenue. And I think as word gets out there, you will see growth. I am curious, have you projected when you may become profitable based on your operating expenses?
We actually are already profitable, and it will continue to grow. So I think we had about a 10% profit margin, and it will continue to grow. By 2024, we'll be at a 50% profit margin. So, yeah, and we changed our model. So in 2020, when we first launched, it was all volunteer run. We, provided oversight in management and marketing. But in 2021, we went to a staffing model. So in 2022, it'll be even more of more of my time, more of Maddie's time. She'll be the one that is going to go on full time to really take this to the next level.
Is one of the aspects of what you're hoping Maddie will be able to do, moving this to kind of a donor relations sort of retention focus? I guess my question is, of those 3,056 visitors, how many of those visitors were unique customers versus return customers, and then how does that play into Maddie's possible new role?
Yeah, most of those customers are unique customers. There was some overlap in repeat customers, which obviously, we want the repeat customers to stay. But and I think that membership model will help kind of foster that whole entire community and really grow that brand. But what's been great too is that all the exposure for the Get Out Adventures has led to more volunteers, more donors, because people will come, they'll kayak, and then they'll want to make an additional donation, or they'll want to come back and they'll volunteer. So it's been a great marketing awareness tool for Adaptive Sports Connection in general. So.
I'm particularly motivated by the fact that you have a business model where your clients could be coming back multiple times a year. And I was also struck when you compared your services to a place like Trapper John's, where I've been many times over the years, and I thought, what are they doing down there, right? Why aren't they doing what you're proposing? So kudos to just the vision on the whole thing. I thought I heard you say something around 5,000, and I don't know if that was the goal with regard to members. Can you tell us what you think the total number of families or households that you think are interested in or really kind of qualify to be part of this program? Because it would feel like it would be pretty significant.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, I mean, we've really only scratched the surface, I think, as far as, you know, the number of people to pull from. You know, with the stats, 53% of people want to try outdoor sports and recreation, but our target market, and we've done a lot of research and are getting very involved with the Outdoor Industry Association, and our trends mirrored a lot of what they saw nationwide, but will be, you know, families and young adults as well. But there is a big push within the outdoor industry that we want to join. You know, this is the whole you know, diversity of the love of the outdoors and giving people, you know, the opportunity to experience the health and, you know, wellness benefits from getting outdoors. So.
Thank you. Okay, let's have a big round of applause.
All right, and now to welcome our final pitch of the evening, the Columbus Music Commission.
Good evening. In case you haven't guessed, I'm the Executive Director of the Columbus Music Commission. My name is Bruce Garfield, and I'm the first Executive Director of the Music Commission. The Commission was founded in 2016 through a community movement by a very diverse group of men and women who came together not only because of their love of music, but their strong belief that supporting music and music programs could make richer, happier, more vibrant lives and enrich the economy of Columbus for everyone. Now, it's not uncommon for people not to realize how big a business music is. Let me first tell you about our pillars. We operate I'm really lucky we operate with three pillars as a nonprofit: education, opportunity, and economic development. This year, I want to show you several of our key programs. Our gifted music students drive has collected in 2 years $250,000 worth of instruments that have gone to Columbus City schools and other music programs. Our Earn As You Earn internship program placed 9 young men and women with music-related companies in Columbus, where we made sure we paid them $15 an hour, and 4 of them were invited back to offer full-time employment. Our Music Mondays program is a series of educational forums that have been attended by 6,000 students, musicians, and budding young entrepreneurs, where they listen to and interact with 55 major industry executives, none of whom were compensated for their time. And in our partnership with the Greater Columbus Arts Council, Music Everywhere, Music Columbus is an initiative not only to help brand our city, but we're putting more Columbus musicians to work in public spaces than ever before. Now, as I started to say before, it's not uncommon that people don't realize just how big an industry music is, or how pervasive it is, because we hear it everywhere. It contributes $170 billion on an annual basis to our economy, and is on the way to employing 3 million people. Now, Nashville, with a metro population of 2 million, enjoys a $10 billion music economy. And Metro Austin, which is now 2.2 million people, they enjoy a music economy of 1.2 billion, in addition to $825,000 alone from music tourism. Now, we in Metro Columbus, with a population commensurate with theirs, our music business income and ecosystem is proportionally so much smaller. But I don't look at that as a problem. To true. They die in the vine. Now, to solve that problem and enrich our economy and provide the jobs we want to provide, we're founding Better Together Records. It'll be a nonprofit record company, and its function will be to take young talent, invest money for studio time, for production of videos, for recording, for promotion, for marketing, so they can earn money through increased number of performances, music publishing, record royalties and streaming, and bring back notoriety as they go out and profit through the world to Columbus. Also, we're going to be hiring, training, and hiring locally. We're not going to be farming this kind of stuff out. Now, in my career, not to self-aggrandize myself, I've been in the music business my entire life. I spent 15 years as a senior executive at Capitol Records, where I worked with artists like Paul McCartney, and Natalie Cole, and David Bowie, Duran Duran, and then as an artist manager and consultant, working with Isaac Hayes, and Grace Jones, and Sinead O'Connor, and consulting Disney, PBS, and Universal. And one thing I know is that talent doesn't happen, careers don't happen overnight, by mistake. It takes time, talent, and resources for that to happen. Now, I have a reputation that's good in the business. And the two things I'm most proud of is, first, I have a reputation for being fair. And the music business is known as a business that has predatory contracts. I can assure you that Better Together will be a new generation record company that will only work with artists under very fair profit-sharing agreements. And the other aspect of my reputation is I have a reputation for delivering on whatever I promise. And one thing I can promise is that Better Together will be a success. In anticipation of our launch, I've assembled some of the biggest names in music as a national advisory committee. And they didn't just accept this position because we're friends. They did it because they believe in the concept and they know we are rich with talent. We're going to start off small. We're going to identify a few artists that are ready to break out, and we're going to leverage our relationships with radio stations, recording studios, promoters, venues, and existing music programs in Columbus. Many of whom have their students graduating at 18, and we're going to fill that gap for them. We expect to break even and start earning money in year 4, and be earning approximately $200,000 in year 5. But I want to explain that these are extremely conservative numbers. One major hit will pay for all 5 years. And in addition, we start to accumulate a catalog of songs that own in conjunction with the artist. By the end of 5 years, we should have 340 songs on our catalog. They have extreme wealth, and they will yield royalties long after most of us are gone. What's probably more important to me than profit and loss is the actual economic impact it'll have. Beyond economic impact, human impact. After 6 years, we expect to have a minimal impact of $6 million. And probably $5 million of that going to the artists. We'll benefit from the support of our very active board, our National Advisory Committee, our community partners, and we're looking to raise $450,000 to take us through year 3, where we will be profitable. And again, I need to stress, my numbers for income are extremely conservative. So I hope we'll share our vision
Thank you, Bruce. That was great. In addition to the royalties, as far as revenue, what are the ways in which the record company would be generating revenue before royalties start to come into play?
At this point, it would just be royalties. But what would happen is if artists grow, so will their capacity to earn. We have the ability, though it's not on my agenda right now, to form other joint ventures with them, whether it's merchandising, co-publishing. And again, my focus is primarily to do record royalties.
So the artist would not pay a fee for access to your equipment, but would they be time limited with regard to how much time they could have with studio space or equipment use?
We're earmarking somewhere in the vicinity of $25,000 per artist to launch their career and provide the tools. It doesn't have to be invested all at once. They will work at a net profit split with us. So we spend $15,000 at a local recording studio, and we will spend our money locally. That will be a cost, above the line cost, we'll take a net profit split with them. We will not charge them staff, just things that are paid out.
Real quick, Bruce, I want to give the opportunity, maybe you can use the microphone.
Can you see me? Do you have a phone book I can stand?
I just wanted to make sure that people know that
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you, Bruce, for that. Your passion really shines through for the music industry. I'm wondering, right, New York, LA, very obvious draws for musicians. Nashville has its kind of country niche. I'm wondering, do you see Columbus as kind of an opportunity for any and all artists, or are you going to kind of focus in on a certain genre, or just to begin with, or just kind of cast your net out wide and see what you can pull
I've
out?
been asked that question before. My first interview in Business First, they said, so you're going to make us in Nashville? The answer is no. I want us to be known for one thing, the home of good music. I don't care if it's country, if it's rap, if it's R&B, if it's dance, if it's good, that's a Columbus product. Now, we may also, we don't want to be the sole company in Columbus. We're hoping to be the catalyst for an industry. And hopefully there'll be young people that'll start companies that will focus on a particular genre. But the answer is no, we're an open book.
Thank you, Bruce. This is a very exciting proposal. I love the concept. I know the focus is on royalties from records, but I am curious to know what would be the potential partnership or support for live performances.
The artists will earn money from their own live performance, which usually is based on the success of streaming. We have businesses here in Columbus that we don't want to encroach on. We have wonderful venues, we have promoters, we have one of the most famous promoters in the nation, Promo West. We're very, very involved with the local scene. So live performances, that's the product, that's our gift to an artist once we get their careers going.
So, I think I've asked this for other people, but what is the biggest challenge that that you want to make sure that you get just right?
Sorry, would you repeat that again?
I'm sorry. What do you think is the biggest challenge to this endeavor that you want to make sure you get just right?
Well, first of all, it's finding artists that are ready to break and have the talent. But we have these other programs, and we're going to use those programs, the money we've already invested, in grooming the talent and getting them to the point. And I said leveraging with all our existing members of the music ecosystem to get them to the point where we know they're going to start to generate streams, etc. And I don't look at that as a big problem. I look at that as something that's just going to, you can watch the landscape to develop. And that's what I've done all those years I ran the A&R Capital. It was watching what was going on in certain regions of the country or in certain cities.
Thank you, Bruce. Bruce. I had never really considered Columbus as a music scene before this presentation, and so thank you for the vision of that. That's really cool. One of the questions that I have, which I'm particularly interested in, is the component of job creation that you talked about early on in your presentation. And I want to know a bit more about what kind of jobs we're talking about. So we're talking about, of course, those really core connected music scene jobs, but there's also those tertiary jobs that are affected by a booming music scene. And so I'm hoping you might be able to tell us.
Well, first of all, the multiplier for every one direct music job, the multiplier is 3.8 indirect jobs. We want to bring young people, and it's a young person's business. You know, okay, I'm a little older, but it's a young person's business. Those photos are actual photos of young people in the business. The music's young, the audience is young, and the people who are manning the battle stage of these companies are young. So we develop someone, teach them management skills, teach them, find someone in school that's really hotshot at social media. We're going to give them that home. I mean, it's just about finding people that have a passion. Those young people in our Earn As You Learn program, we're going to expand that. We need to be doing 15, 20 young people next year. And these businesses, like I said, 4 of them are offering full-time employment. And it's interesting, I may be digressing for a second. I met with a young woman who works for Underserved. And it's an organization that guides young people who are graduating high school on where they can find grants and scholarships. And she said, Bruce, you would be amazed how many of these kids come in and they want a job in the music business. Then maybe not that focused on university. Anyway, I'm a big believer in grooming. I mean, there's 2 people sitting back there, Thane Leshner and Olivia Stefanoff, who started with us as interns. Thane was a non-paid intern at Capital University. I had to pay him. So he became a paid intern. And now he's my right-hand person. Olivia, same thing. So I was given my chances in the music business as a kid, dripping behind the ears by many mentors, and I will never forget that. That's why I'm doing this. I took this position because I believe in the mission of my board. And it's my opportunity. This is my legacy. I want to be able to do that for young people. I want a legacy. I'm not going to have a legacy because I put Isaac Hayes as chef on South Park. I'm going to have a legacy for what I do here in Columbus for our young people.
Thank you, Bruce. As a Columbus native, I agree wholeheartedly with the gifts and talents that exist here in our city and surrounding communities, and being in the Midwest, you don't always get that attention and acknowledgement for your gifts and talents. So I applaud your vision on this. My question is, can you share with us a little bit more about your vetting process? You know, the music industry is very much like the sports industry. You know, everyone has a dream, but only 1% of 1% actually make it to that professional level. So can you share with us a little bit about what your vetting process is to ensure that the young people that you bring into your organization are really committed and ready?
I'll kind of build through the process. It starts with putting instruments in kids' hands. The kids who really want to get somewhere will move into other programs. Through our network of radio stations, publications, record shops, venues, promoters, we'll start identifying young people. We're just starting a program in December called The Unheard. We're going to put forums together for young people who are underage to play for underage audiences, which they cannot find, and start to groom them that way. As far as the actual selection process, we have a national advisory committee. We're putting together a local advisory committee. And in music, it's really, you know, that's what I did very successfully for a lot of years. So it comes down to one or two people making the final decision.
Okay, great, thank you, Bruce. Why don't you fire up some tunes to carry us into the next segment here. If you've heard all the pictures, now we're going to hand out the awards.
And Elsie and I are going to surprise you all with a duet. Tonight has been really amazing. There's a song in our heart and money in the bank, right, to help move our community forward. So let's give another round of applause to all of the presenters. As Sean spoke of earlier, the judging was done in a separate pitch to these judges yesterday, and Elsie's going to tell you more about that.
That's right. So there was a separate pitch to these judges, and the votes have actually already been tabulated, and we are so excited to share the results with you. So for the folks who pitched this evening, as we read your name, please come to the stage, accept your award from Sean, and then stand here alongside us. All right, are we ready?
And award number 1 is for 3 levels of greatness.
$3,000 to the Clintonville Beechwood CRC.
Music Commission is awarded $4,500.
For our 4th award, ARC Industries is awarded $5,500.
This stage filling up with all these beautiful people with wonderful checks. And for our 5th award, Adaptive Sports Connection is awarded $8,000. So finally, to conduct and present our Audience Choice Award, we'd like to turn the podium back over to Sean.
And now, it's time for the People's Choice Award. And so this is going to be text voting. Everybody get your phones out and get them warmed up. And I'm going to fiddle with the technology for a moment. So let's have louder music to cover up the sound. And we'll figure it out. Okay, so the way this is going to work, I'm going to put a screen up here. Text your vote to the number on the left of the screen. Number 1, and just text the number 1 for ARC Industries, number 2 for 3 levels of greatness, number 3 for Clintonville Beachwold CRC, number 4 for Adaptive Sports Connection, or number 5 for Columbus Music Convention. And we should see these pop up live as you all text your votes in. Those of you who are standing on stage, if you've got your phone in your pocket, you are also allowed to vote. You don't even have to vote for yourself.
Read the number.
It's 205 751 6164. That is 205 751 6164. Just one more minute. So let's see some dancing checks. Okay, so we're going to count down the last 10 seconds while the poll is open. Count down with me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. And so, the People's Choice Award of $2,615 goes to 3 levels of grade. Okay, so we've got more food, we've got more music, we've got more conversation. On behalf of myself and my partners at Cause Impact, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all the people that helped make tonight happen. So Vicki and Elsie and Michael and Gretchen and Bo and Omar and Danielle. I don't care what Matt says, I think you people are awesome. Thanks to the AEP Foundation, thanks to the Columbus Foundation, thanks to IGS Energy and United Way of Central Ohio. They make this stuff possible. Let's give a big round of applause and thanks for our team. We're looking forward to the next round in 2022. We ought to be kicking off in March, so watch this space. Now please join us for dessert, for more conversation. There are tables set up along the side of the room here. Our presenters will be moving down there to answer your questions and talk more about their new ventures. So let's have some fun.